Hello and welcome to episode 63 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, the podcast where we take a random movie from Metacritic's all-time movie lists. This is Colin.
This is Niall.
And this is random movie number 13,329. It's Conan the Barbarian from 1982. It's got a Metascore of 43 and a user score of 8.0. So that signifies in my methodological brain that this is a cult movie. It has a running time of 2 hours and 9 minutes, had a budget of 20 million and raked in 68.9 to 79.1, something around that ballpark. Reasonable. Directed by John Milius, who's, wrote Apocalypse Now. He did The Wind and the Line, our previous podcast. I can't remember what episode number it was, but look back and you'll see what that was all about.
A few months back, all right. And
also, he gets called on a lot by other directors to change and to do stuff to the scripts. Like he's got credits in Quentin Tarantino movies, and
wow,
he added the Magnum Force bit or something, and yeah, he's very smart boy. So he is. Conan was created by Robert E. Howard, who actually really loved Celtic stuff and Irish roots, and he actually came up with a character called Thomas Dove O'Brien or something, and there's a couple of short stories about that, and he learned a couple of phrases in Irish and everything. So that's our connection to Robert E. Howard. Unfortunately, he topped himself off when he was 36. Very sad story. Yeah, his mum was dying for like decades with something I can't remember, and he I don't want to start this off on a low note or whatever, but I will. He they are at home, and the sort of nurse was there, and he was like, "Is my mum going to wake up again?" And the nurse went, "Nope." So he went outside and shot himself in the head in his car.
Ouch! Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's put a high note on the start of our discussion of this movie. That's kind of depressing.
Well, to go from that, I actually really enjoyed Conan the Barbarian. Actually, it's a lot better than I thought
it was. Yeah. Was this the first time you watched it then, or is it something you hadn't seen in donkeys?
I can't even commit to telling you I watched it the whole way through in my life. I knew of it, and I think I remember James Earl Jones as a snake turning into the snake and stuff.
Yeah, it's quite memorable.
Yeah, it's very good, actually. It's very well done. No, but so I was expecting really bad acting from Arnie, and he doesn't actually act too badly in this.
He doesn't do much acting at all, though, and that's kind of the point. He's his physical presence does the heavy lifting for him, if you will. He doesn't actually he doesn't speak for 24 minutes at the start. And it's not a bad thing.
No, like in the entire movie. And then it's at the end, he doesn't speak for a good old 20 minutes, I think, as well. Yeah. Like what setting up the fort to repel the attackers. I think from then on, he has one last line, I think, which what's his butt? Subutai, and then he just doesn't talk again for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Like the other characters do it for him. Like James Earl Jones has a few lines, and I've always had time for James Earl Jones. He delivers them very well. But yeah, there isn't a great deal of dialogue in this.
No, and that's fine. It actually works. And I kept on. So this came out in 82. Krull came out in 83, and Krull had a bigger budget.
Get out of town.
So I read, and I was just
the production comparison between that and this beats the crap out of it.
Oh my god, this looks great because they use so many, like they filmed it in Spain, so they it looks great. There's no so what I think about Krull is that they just created these sets. Yeah, they created the swamp and they created all the cliff thingy, and with this one they actually made the snake mountain or whatever. The fort. The
mountain of power.
The mountain of power, yeah. Like both Krull and Conan has these mountains that the evil guy is in. But all the scenery in this movie is better. It looks great, and The music in this one is good as well, and I think the acting overall in this one is good. And the difference between this and Krull is that we've got two assistants to the main character. We've got Valeria and we've got Subutai, and that's it. And we tend to know a little bit more about them than the 6 or 7 idiots that follow the guy around in Krull. We don't know anything about them.
Oh, I also like in this, he gets a fancy sword and he uses it all the time. Whereas in Krull, he's got, you got that fancy, glaze.
Boomerang. Yeah, the glaze.
No, don't use it till the end, says the wizard. What an idiot. Use it all the time.
A wizard in this one is useful too. He's a little bit of a coward when all the demons turn up, but he
I love him in this, actually.
Yeah, he's great. He resurrects Conan nicely. Yeah. It's a good resurrection.
9 out of 10 for resurrection.
Yeah, well done. It's a very short summary on Metacritic. It just says, Conan Schwarzenegger seeks revenge from the group led by Tulsa Doom, who killed his parents and enslaved him. So that's nice. Typical sort of adventure, mythical introduction with a bit of sort of beating drum and an narration OV. Speaking of high adventure and his lord, and
all narrated by our friend the wizard.
Yes. Yeah, I think I read that they were going to do the narration by Arnie, but the producer said, no, his accent sucks.
Nobody's going to be able to understand what the guy's talking about.
Yeah. So he's good. And then we have a lot of scenes that there are no dialogue in. There's the forging of the sword. There's Conan's dad saying, Chrome is your god. Steel's your friend. Trust your sword.
Oh, never trust in men or women. Trust in steel.
Trust in steel. Yeah. So it's
that theme comes back later with Tulsa Doom, but we can talk about that when it arrives.
So we can, this is what should be done. I wasn't really left wanting. It was the introduction to the backstory of Conan. We saw him as a kid. We see marauders going into his camp. We see the characters that we will see later on that forges the sort of impetus for revenge. The Hammer dude, MC Hammer.
Yeah, this is a very... I wrote Spinal Tap down here for this.
I wrote that too, yeah.
Mostly because of the hair, especially on James Earl Jones when he knocks off the hat. Yeah. He's got some mad hat hair when he takes the helmet off.
Helmet head.
Yeah. But it's just very Spinal Tap. Obviously not intentional.
No. And then
it had me chuckling.
Yeah, he said, this sword goes up to 11.
Over your ma's neck.
Yeah. So yeah, they come in maybe I'm going to call them brothers. I'm just going to say they're brothers. They look like brothers, but they are
Tap Bros.
Tap brothers. One with a big hammer, one with a sword. They obviously kill his dad, Conan's dad, and chop off his mom's head. Oh yeah, the dogs as well. But the dogs finish him off. It's not a nice scene. The beheading of the mom is done well, I thought, like shot wise. Like obviously we see a real beheading later, not a real, but like we see one happening where her head is lopped off, but this one is off camera.
I think it's actually better that way because
in
1982, you don't have the special effects to be able to do it accurately, unless you're actually going to cut somebody's head off. But it's very effective and it doesn't age because it's off camera. Yeah, and I like James Earl Jones winding up into it.
True, he kind of just
slow, snaky.
His eyes sort of entrance his mom, Conan's mom, and so she kind of drops her sword a little bit, and he goes, "Yoink! I'm going to chop your head off with your husband's sword, basically." So
harsh indeed.
Nice sword. I think that was 17 minutes in, and I think he says the first line, Samuel L. Jones as Tulsa, and then that's the first sort of. Oh no, sorry. I beg your pardon. He didn't say anything. There was no dialogue in this.
No.
I'm going ahead to
his dad spoke in the first minute or something.
True.
It's just silence.
Yeah, it's silence. And then so we get all the kids are sent north, and then it's the wheel of torture for Conan until he's 18, 20, don't know. But he turns the wheel for a long time.
He doesn't skip leg day. It's more like leg decade.
Yeah, he's pretty fit. I wouldn't mind having one of those in the garden or whatever. I'm off outside to work out. And also I'm grinding wheat as I do it. So, it's two for the price of one. Yeah. I think John Milius said that actually was a working mill grinder thing. They actually created it. And that's
Oh,
why it
wow.
looks so good. It looks so sturdy and stuff.
Yeah, it's never really explained what it is or what they're grinding, or
No.
it doesn't really show them doing anything with it other than it's there for him to be pushing it for decades.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need explaining.
No. No. And it's great. And all this is still done in montage and music over it. And I'm getting what I want. I'm getting backstory. I got it. His parents were killed and now he's a slave. And if that doesn't get you on your road to revenge, I don't know what does. I don't need any princesses to be saved. Not yet, anyway, but that's not his. That was
It's incidental.
incidental.
Almost.
Yeah, later on. Sort of, yeah, it adds a little bit, but not too much.
He's going that way anyway, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll do that."
Yeah, I'm heading that way anyway. Yeah, no worries. So then, from then on, they say, "Oh, yeah, this guy's strong after 17 years." So they get him into pit fighting, and it's the first time you hear Arnie sound.
It's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
Yeah. Then his ginger-haired sort of manager, for want of a better word, he's like, "What do you?" What's,
slave owner? Yeah.
What do you stand for? And I didn't write it down, but it's like, "Crush your enemies." Some big line, big sentence, and he says, "Crush your enemies."
Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and the lamentation of their women.
There you go.
There you go. I wrote that down.
Yeah. Wasn't Jean-Claude Van Damme, was it? It sounded a bit like him.
My version probably, yeah.
Anyway, for some reason, ginger-haired road manager gives him his freedom.
No explanation given, none needed.
Off you go, son.
Tra, Chuck. See you later.
Chuck. Yeah. So obviously the next morning the dogs chase him. I read in the trivia that these dogs are actually quite violent, the real dogs.
Really?
Yeah, and I think Arnie injured himself climbing up the mountain or climbing up that little rock pile.
Well, he did a lot of his own stunts apparently, so I can imagine that.
Yeah,
I think it was him falling down into the hole as well.
Yeah.
Again.
He finds a sword from a skeleton in there, and even that was well done. I just thought it was good. There was good camera angles in there, just pointing upwards towards the skull, and then the skull's head. Crumb. But so was he saying that was actually Crumb? Or was he just praying to Crumb at that point? But that was the story of Crumb, though. He was driven underground,
underground, and he'd given the secret of steel to humanity or something like that.
So maybe it was Crumb's sword he got.
It kind of fits, but yeah, I don't think Conan's that deep a thinker. So he probably just thought to himself, Jesus, that's a sword. That's handy. I'm off.
Yeah, maybe he said, "Oh, I know the basic story of Crumb. Oh, you are Crumb. You're down underneath. You're in a throne. Hey, I'll take it as I have Crumb's sword. Yoinks."
Yeah.
Anyway, he sets off, and there's a sultry woman wants to give him some warmth.
Oh, young man. Drags him into her hovel. And says, "Yeah, you come in here, sit down. Oh, let's get jiggy." And he's like, "Okay."
Well, he said, "Hey, do you know what the symbol of two snakes is?" And she's like going, "Well, if you roll around me a bit, I'll tell you."
And he was like, "Oh no, that price is too high." No, of course he doesn't. They get jiggy. She turns into a monster while explaining some stuff to him about Tulsa Doom.
Yeah, he's in Zamora.
He's in Zamora, just down the road past the Chippies.
Yeah, named after Bobby Zamora, famous Premier League footballer. Yeah, she fucks off in a sort of plume of smoke after he chucks her in the fire.
Yeah, just why not?
Yeah, she goes all feral and gets all pointy-teethed during the interaction.
No, love, I'm not interested in this anymore. In the fire you go.
That's a bit, it's a bit dodgy. So Subotai's outside, chained up, and they become fast friends quite a lot, don't they?
Yeah, with
quite
no
quickly.
Explanation. It's like,
That's fine.
Give me some food. And he's like, I don't want to get eaten by the wolves. And like Conan's like, okay, let's be friends.
Yeah. They have this like in-depth, not a really in-depth conversation because there is really no in-depth conversation, but they have like a Chrome versus the Four Winds as gods over a bit of chicken on a fire, they just talk about their gods a little bit, and that's fine. It doesn't give me a lot of sort of background, but it gives me Subotai's sort of mindset. Obviously, Subotai is a thief as well, so I have that, and I never really wanted or was left wanting more about his background or his sort of impetus for joining him.
Sometimes you don't need exposition on stuff because it's not relevant to the plot, and this is not relevant. And like who he is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, but he's a good character. He's a good
He's an
friend.
excellent character in this, yeah.
He's a good friend. Oh, thief friend. So they have there's a whole sort of thing now where they're running from town to town and
Nicking stuff.
nicking stuff and
Up to shenanigans and getting after bins and drugs.
yeah, like they got some drugs from somebody and they're walking past some women and Conan just goes, "They're all sloths."
Oh, look, a camel.
Punches a camel in the face, and he actually looks like he did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure not even Arnie could knock a camel out like that. It was like an acting camel. But still, it looked pretty...
Yeah, there was one cut where it's behind Conan and we're sort of side on to the camel and he sort of throws a punch and it actually, you can see there's the camel's head being affected, but then we get another cut where there's sort of like a close-up of the camel's body and sort of topples over. So I'm guessing that hopefully it was a pulled punch from Arnie and he didn't just deck a camel for the sake of it.
No, I think if you deck a camel, you're going to get kicked in the face.
Well, whatever that organization that says no animals were harmed. I should have waited till the end. No animals were harmed in making this movie, apart from that camel.
I thought about that as well, and there's a couple of horses later on.
Oh, I always, yeah, it's the same with Wind in the Line and not Krull, but Wind in the Line. All these horses taking nosedives on pointy spikes.
Yeah, it looked a bit rough. A couple of them did. It's a different time where people didn't give a damn about the welfare of animals at all, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm sure there are still monitors at this stage, though. I'm sure I might just have a look at it and see. But even if all these bloody disclaimers or lies anyway, what are they going to do?
Oh, yeah.
2 camels and 5 horses were killed in the making of this movie.
Yeah, sometimes people die making the movie as well, so it's...
Yeah, one stuntman was like at the end of The Crow. Brandon Lee was killed during the end of this movie. No animals were harmed though.
When Brandon Lee was killed in this movie.
So at the end of Apocalypse Now, there's a real water buffalo that's killed during Apocalypse Now. So what's at the end of Apocalypse Now? Oh, one water buffalo was killed. We tried to save him, but they wouldn't stop.
He was tasty.
Yeah, it was part of the religious ceremony. Anywho, there's a Tower of Serpents in this little town they're in, and they meet up with Valeria there, this kick-ass character. I like Valeria a lot, actually, as a character.
The fun thing is, though, Valeria's name is never actually spoken throughout the entire movie.
Damn.
She's just there as the lady.
The lady. With the handy rope that she has. So they do a sort of a original Batman walking up the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you remember from the original Batman.
Of course I do, him and Robin.
Yeah, up and somebody opens a window. What are you doing? That would have been funny in this one. Anyway, they go in this. So this scene's quite cool, actually. There's a high priest in there, and I noticed that Subutai hates smells. He's just very, very sensitive to smells. So Arnie's got his Conan sort of as Indiana Jones here, grabbing the serpent's eye, red serpent's eye, and there's a big snake by his foot, and he doesn't notice.
No, I think he notices. He's just trying to be very careful not to awaken the serpent. Oh, yeah.
You think he wouldn't have just stuck a fucking sword in his head if he noticed him?
I think they're trying to get out of there without raising a kerfuffle.
So Valeria's upstairs. She quickly disguises herself as a priestess or whatever, a devotee. There's a lady upstairs who's stripped off and is ready to jump into the snake pit as a sacrifice, because that's
ready
what religions
and
do.
Willing.
Yeah. Arnie gets sort of caught by the snake down there, and they fuck it up basically and chop its head off, and she's not looking down during this.
No, Subutai's he's earning his wage there, pinning the snake to the wall with his arrows.
Very good. And I heard John Milius was the one who shot the arrows there because he was the best archer.
Get out of town.
And the crew and cast.
Yeah, nice shots.
I think he was a pretty decent archer. So yeah, they fuck up the snake. The lady jumps down and starts screaming, not in agony that she broke her legs, just that the snake is dead.
No, the snake. Also, my legs have come off.
Yeah, God, that would have hurt big time.
Yeah.
So it's all chaos upstairs. Infidels.
Yeah, and the lads are climbing up the rope trying to get out, and the guards come running out, and then Valeria starts stabbing them.
Yeah,
Stab, 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 stab. Let's leg it.
yeah.
Everybody laughs.
I like her movement to get out. Just wraps the rope around the guy's neck, chucks him down, and then that
Sure.
second law, Isaac Newton's second law of motion, or whatever the fuck.
Conservation.
Yeah, whatever. For every reaction, there's an equal and opposite whatever.
Yeah, so
Action.
he goes
Reaction.
down, she goes up.
Exactly.
Whee!
Nicely done. Good scene. Well shot. Even like the interior design and everything looks real. It doesn't look plastic or styrofoamy. It looks decent. At no point did I go, yes, fucking looks stupid. Even the snake rearing up looked really good.
For its time, it looks really good. You know, it obviously looks fake, but it's 1982. It's the best you're going to get.
Yeah, with the lens of 2024, I still think it looks decent. Like I would.
Oh no, the production and the effects in this are actually very good for its time.
Yeah, I think Krull looked terrible to me from the start. Like even just
that's what hurt me the most about Krull, because it aged so badly.
And ironically, it was trying to cash in on the success of this one, but just got its production wrapped up wrongly, I guess.
They spent too much money on that lad climbing the mountain.
And the glaive.
The glaive
spinning around.
I don't know where they spent all the money. There was obviously production problems. I think we remember talking about awkwardness and problems and reshoots and all this crap, and the armor that wouldn't bloody move.
Yeah. Valeria jumps off to our tower saying her thing that she repeats later. Do you want to live forever?
Reminded me of Starship Troopers.
Oh, I need to watch that again. I cannot remember anything about it.
Great movie.
I've done my part. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're post their heist now, and they're sort of getting trashed. Valeria and Arnie are up a tree. Kissing.
Quite a lot of that, actually.
Yeah, they get wasted. King Osric comes along and goes,
yoink.
I hate snakes. Thanks a lot for doing that stuff.
Ably played by Max von
Sydow. Yeah, he played the crow in Game of Thrones, or whatever the guy in the tree was when they went up north of the wall. I was when he was talking like about the purge of the snake people or whatever. I instantly thought of, I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
It's only get these motherfucking snakes out of my motherfucking kingdom.
Yeah. So he predated snakes on a plane by many centuries. Yeah. Get my daughter. She's fallen for this snake dude. Let's go.
Loads of cash.
Here's a bunch of red jewels. Yeah. So, but like Valeria's like going, listen.
We've all the money in the world. Yeah. Why the hell do we want to butter our backsides doing this?
Yeah.
Conan, not so much.
Yeah. We've got different sort of storylines here. We've got the revenge for Arnie for his parents, and Valeria's just a thief that just says, hey, I've got enough. I'm happy.
She's right, to be honest. They've got all the monies in the world. True. Then the movie would have been over. So
yeah. So Arnie skedaddles on his own.
Yeah. He leaves two lads behind. Enjoy your cash. I'm going to chop this lad's head off.
Yeah. Be back in time for tea. So there's a montage of him traveling along, which I thought was very well shot, and the scenery looks great. I didn't have anything bad to say about the scenery.
Yeah, the scenes chosen were bang on.
I didn't even have any sort of like The Wind in the Line does it for like fucking 40 minutes of its entire running time. This was like pretty quick. He then quickly meets the wizard who is the narrator.
Yep, and the wizard's giving him grief for a few minutes, and the two of them are laughing. And
yeah, quite quickly. Fast friends.
Everybody's fast friends with Arnie because they're scared he's going to whip their arms off, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good character, the wizard. He's sort of played well. He's a bit of a sort of a Yoda type person, sort of characteristics.
Wizard I am.
Yeah. So he grabs a camel for some reason. That poor camel had to probably the same one that he punched.
That's a heavy man to have on your back.
Yeah, I don't know how friggin' strong these camels are, but I just don't like seeing people ride on camels. Anyway, he finds the mountain and all these believers and all this chants of doom. It doesn't really
Goddamn doom hippies. That's what I wrote down.
Yeah, it doesn't really sell the religion too well because it's just doom, doom, doom. It's not giving you happiness or anything, you know?
Yeah, that's the weird conflict there between the concept of the hippies, and they're all kind of lovey-dovey talking about their emotions and carrying flowers, but then they're all willing to kill and to die for Mr. Doom.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know.
That's not peace and love, baby. That's stabby McStabby.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a take on obviously religion and how soul sucking it is, and if you get into the rough and tumble of it, there really is no joy in it. It's like bunnies. I'd like a religion like that.
Yeah.
And then he's giving bunnies out to everybody.
Yeah, not doom.
Doom. Black. Snakes. Clams with the caves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We won't.
What's that, Johnny? Yeah, no. Anyway, he grabs and he dresses in priest's robes he dresses priest's robes and he starts flashing the green pendant he took from the snake pit like it's a backstage pass. Like, I've got this. VIP,
VIP. My spinal tap backstage pass.
Yeah, it's like Wayne's World when they're going backstage and Wayne is just
we're not worthy
putting it into the exactly. But then they're like going, no, this looks dodgy. So the guy goes to the Spinal Tap brothers. Goes, this guy's got fucking
that lad's
dodgy ID.
Pass looks like it's been copied,
photocopied.
Yeah.
So they grab him and infidel.
Give him that kicking. You get Spinal Tap on your face, Betty.
Yeah, fucked him up. And before he gets to before they put him onto the Tree of Woe, which is
whoa,
it is pretty woeful. There's a good scene where Tulsa sort of, he gives a little bit more exposition to his tactics.
That's back in my early days when I was a young lad.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry about killing your parents.
Yeah. That's when I thought steel was the answer, but now it's
true.
Flesh.
That's true. Flesh is stronger. And then he just goes, "Hey, girl, come down to me.
Come down, see me." Splat.
Yeah.
And he's like, "That's power, you jerk." Now off to the tree with you.
Off to the Tree of Woe. Yeah. So he's up there for goodness knows how long. Vultures start crawling on him, and then he starts.
Vultures start eating him, but then he starts eating vultures.
Yeah, it's like, get off me. Yoink, snap, chomp.
Don't jump, Arnie. He'll chomp back.
Yeah. So but anyway, Subutai, Valeria, wizard for the win, come to save him.
Yep, now they'll come running up, and then it's time for this reincarnation thingy you talked about earlier.
Yeah, like they put lots of rune symbols on his face and
the wizard does warn Valeria there is a price to be paid.
Yes, what is that price?
Oh, she pays it later.
Yeah. So demons, actually it's a really good scene, actually. Again, another production thing that looks decent for what it is. It's the whole night scene is bathed in red, and these demons, which they don't make look too physical in form. It's very ethereal, and
it's very ethereal. I have a sneaky suspicion these are like almost etched onto the film itself, because I know that's one of the techniques used back in the day, which is a lot of bloody work.
Yeah, cell by cell or frame by frame or whatever. Yeah, because it's quite fluid and it's quite smooth. The actions, like they don't come into any sort of detail, but you can certainly see their forms and everything. And it's a little bit of a sort of a physical and spiritual battle for his soul. And
yep, Subutai sitting on him.
Subutai sitting on him. Yeah.
Don't you drag him away.
Get out of it. So, but they win in the end, and the wizard runs away at this point because he's done his job. He's kind of scared of these demons because he knows what the hell they are. He's like, what the hell?
He doesn't want to fight with those bloody things.
Yeah. So, I think it's, next day or whatever, he's trying to find his strength again and sort of agree, all right, let's only the girl agreed, and Conan doesn't answer. They want to go back and just grab the girl and not kill everybody that he wants to kill.
Yeah, he's sharpening his sword, which is obviously, I'm not going to answer you, I'm chopping you guys' head off.
Yeah. And also, I don't have much dialogue in this movie, so I'm not answering.
Yeah.
I don't have any line
I've
here.
been told not to talk very much.
Yeah, it certainly took a gamble on him. Like there
Yeah.
was a couple of movies before this, but obviously
Hercules in New York.
they overdubbed him in that. So
The worst voice ever. Like, you're gonna hire Arnie.
well, I did hear James Earl Jones and Max von Sydow gave him acting tips in this, and like to be honest with you, what he does say, very little that he does say, is actually accentuated well and sort of emotive as well. For as much as Arnie does do in his acting, I thought it was actually decent, and I was quite surprised with the quality of his acting in this.
Well, listen, if you're getting acting tips from those pair, that's not a bad thing. Starting your career off.
No, definitely not. No, definitely not. So they head on off, put some Predator war paint on. That reminded me of him putting his.
Yeah, and I was actually quite impressed by that camouflage paint, because it's effective in that it masks the outline of the human form, which is you're sitting still. You're not recognized as a person or a threat.
Yeah, and
when you're running around the place, it doesn't bloody work. But
with a sword, chopping people's heads off. It looked really good, because once they got into the sort of snake pit, it's it was all pretty much red in there, and they really just stood out with their stripes, like eerily. So I thought it was quite good.
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of, though? Funnily enough, so when they went in there was a bunch of lads carrying the pot of hand soup, with the hands in it.
I called it Silent Doom.
Silent Doom, very good, very good. But there was sort of music happening, and I said, "This is like Mount Doom's Oompa Loompas in the Wonka factory." They were waddling. They were waddling with
the soup,
and there was a drum beat in the background.
No soup for you.
Yeah, there was like the drum beat in the background. I was going, "This is Willy Wonka's Mountain of Doom factory."
A slightly darker version of it.
Yeah.
Instead of the river of chocolate, it's a river of hand soup.
Hand soup, yeah. So they head on in. There's a bit of an orgy happening. There's not really orgy, but it's sort of throes of passion. Everybody's clothed and everything, but it's not.
I can understand why Mr. Doom just started off and became a snake at this point, because the orgy was pretty boring. He's like, I'm off. It's crap.
Yeah, so they show the princess with which is King Osric's daughter, and I totally thought of Princess Leia and Jabba the Hutt here.
Oh, completely, yeah.
And like this was what, 4 years after Star Wars, 3 years after Star Wars, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they got that little snippet.
Yeah, and listen, James Earl Jones, Darth Vader.
True, there's a linky. But yeah, Tulsa morphing into a snake was very good, very well done. It wasn't corny looking. It wasn't sort of, and they kept on cutting as well. It wasn't just one full shot. It was okay. A slight change in his face. Okay, cut to Valeria and stuff moving.
Montage back of lads sneaking around and turning into a snake.
Yeah, and then finally it just goes into his head, and I said, Jesus, that's actually a lot of times in Krull I was going, fuck it now.
Yeah.
But in this, it was like, man, that's really good. And then he slithers off. Valeria and
he snakes off.
He snakes off the lads. Valeria and everybody, they start burning down the place. And
all right, they go in full rampage mode. Stabby, chop, chop, chop.
Oh yeah. They escape. They get the princess, hit her a few times because she's like under the spell of the snake, basically.
Yeah.
Valeria kicks ass on the way. She kills a lot of people.
Oh, that's the last people she'll kill, I'm afraid. Because Tulsa Doom gets a bit snaky again.
It's creepy. The snake arrow. It's creepy. Yeah, so it's like a floppy snake, and then you cut to them on horses running away, and then obviously they've put a snake painted arrow. But it's like the movement is great. It's like, oh yeah, he's straightened out the snake to be an arrow. Anyway, it lands.
It works, yeah.
Into Valeria.
It finds its mark on Valeria, yeah.
Yeah.
And she pays the price.
She pays the price finally.
Yeah, she offered to pay it, and she pays it.
She's dead. I'm so cold. Hold me. Kiss me.
Actually, that line of dialogue could have been left out, in my opinion. That's a bit, I don't know.
There's a lot said. She said a lot.
She does.
I'm so cold would be fine.
Yes.
So cold.
Not the bit where I want to breathe my last breath into your mouth. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah, it was kind of strange. Yeah.
Don't say that. Say that's the cold bit, right? Thanks.
Yeah. It was also interesting. I don't know what you read into the fact that the wizard said when they put her onto the pyre, the wizard said, "Yeah, that's not going to burn," and she blew up, exploded. So why was that?
Because she's been drinking petrol all day, obviously.
It's her main diet.
Yeah, no, because Crom had listened to Arnie from a few minutes before, and she went and fired.
Yeah.
And she gets turned into some sort of Valkyrie.
Yeah, she comes back later on to do a little bit of help.
Do you want to live forever?
Well, she doesn't say it like she says it ethereally.
Yeah, well, I can't do Valkyrie ethereally.
Do you want to live forever?
Sparkle.
Sparkly. I mean, she's got the winged helmet on. But anyway, that happens in a few minutes. But there's a very kind of appropriate scene here where he rips off his wheel symbol and puts on the Eye of the Serpent that she had on all movie. And it's time for the A-team setting up for attack.
There's a very Predator trap set up here as well, which I really enjoy.
Very much so. But all these pointy sticks did nothing.
No, the vast majority of them just break when a dead person falls on them.
Yeah, they all just flop over. Even the horses, when they rolled over them, they all just fell out of the way.
A lot of work for feck all use, to be honest.
Yeah, and to be honest, yeah, they didn't do anything because they just sworded and stabbied and walloped all the people.
Subutai did quite a lot of the killing with his spear, which is what you're supposed to use against, mounted cavalry.
Cavalry, yeah. He's smarter than he looks, Subutai. Good old Subutai.
Yeah.
He was a good
pal.
He
gets a bit stabbed here, though, as well, though.
He got stabbed a little bit, but then...
minor stabbing.
Wizard helps him out as well. So they all came together as a team. And...
then they loved it when the plan came together.
They did. The MC Hammer came along and he gets spiked to fuck.
Yeah, he predators himself.
Yeah.
And then now, kill me.
Well, he hasn't got anything left to say because he's pretty much just impaled.
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything. And then his brother comes trundling along, running for Arnie, and this is when Valeria comes back.
Yep.
I thought she
sparkles in his eyes.
Yeah, I thought she blinded him, but he comes back and can see him. I thought
he was going to have one of his eyes. He's stumbling around for a little bit anyway. He's dazed.
Yeah, I thought that would be nice if he just had blood streaming down and then just couldn't see anything.
Decapitates him. That's it.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, useful.
Properly Valkyrie style, not some sparkle.
Yeah. Yeah, so Arnie fucks him up.
Yeah. Chop.
Yeah. The princess at this stage is tied up to a stone and she's going, "Save me."
Tulsa Doom's like, nah, that's too much work. That guy's pretty freaking serious. I'm just going to kill you with me sneaky arrows.
Yeah, I don't know why. It was just pure evil for him. I don't know what his reason was.
Spite at this point. Yeah, if I can't have the daughter of the king, she's Brannert.
Yeah, I'm not going to stand up to... He was a bit of a pussy, actually, to be honest with you, Tulsa Doom. But for his name, all his power was he can turn into a snake. He can sort of enchant you with his eyes if you give him a bit of time.
I think that's his real power, though. Is not
physical,
running around hitting people with a sword. It's seducing people with his snake powers. And setting up a cult. Yeah. Quite frankly, he's more powerful than a lad with a sword, or should be.
Yeah. But it's fun, yeah. Well, we'll get to the point. I kind of laughed at the end of the movie. Anyway, Subutai saves the princess. It's a pity that we didn't see Subutai just leading the princess away. It'd be nice if Subutai got that sort of closure. Maybe he married the princess or something. I don't know. Something nice for Subutai, but we don't see Subutai.
A bag of cash, I think, is what he got at the end of it. So he's probably happy enough.
Yeah, he took her back. We get that in the end narration of the movie that the princess went back, and that was fine. So Conan goes back to finish the job with the princess. The princess goes back. Obviously, I don't know. She doesn't do anything. I wonder in the original script, did she actually do something?
She's used briefly to distract one of the guards.
Kind of.
And then Arnie just comes up behind and slices the guard's throat. Whereas he could have just went in front and just stabbed him in the face.
Right. Yeah. And
Arnie's got options.
Yeah, and she's like at the side of the altar where Tulsa Doom is, and I thought she was going to just distract him or something, and then Arnie would come in for the kill, but she doesn't do anything. I wonder if that was just cut out of it, and it was just sort of an Arnie versus Tulsa Doom ending that the director wanted, and no sort of help from anybody, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think that she added anything to the end scenes.
No, he could have just went without her.
The
And
conversation, which is the face-off between the two guys at the end,
yeah,
there's no violence here. Well, there is. Right?
well,
There's
yeah, finally.
no fighting. It's
No,
Tulsa Doom trying to convince Arnie, basically, I'm your dad, really, when you look at it.
I am your father.
he's always using that line.
Yeah, fucking one-hit wonder, one-trick pony.
Yeah, it doesn't work this time.
No, yoinks, I'll have your head.
Yeah, sticks his dad's half sword into Tulsa Doom's neck. Chop, chop, chop. Chucks it down the stairs, and all the cultists are like, "Gonna have to have something else to do with me Friday night."
Well, that's the thing, though. That's the thing I was laughing at. It's like, oh yeah, the guy that we worshipped and deemed our savior is now dead, so I'm off home. Chicken in the oven.
Chicken of it. Yeah.
They sort of just start throwing in their flames and going, all right,
Well, fair enough.
off we go. I can
to
catch
find somebody else to fucking believe in.
There's a fucking rat lord down the valley.
Gonna pray to the goat demons or something.
Yeah, spaghetti monsters, a new and upcoming monster god. Yeah, so they head off home, and like the ending just goes on a little bit too much. Like Conan's there lamenting or just thinking about things, sitting on the ramp up.
Actually, what was the bit where he does the old hammer throw?
Hammer throw. Yeah.
Like, what was that made of?
Well, that's what I used to. So, like, there's a sort of a I don't know what you call that religious things. I used to do it as an altar boy. Fucking, they were so horrible to open to put the incense into. But this one's just full of fire. He throws it up the thing to set stuff on fire, and I'm going, "What are you setting on fire? It's made out of stone."
It goes on fire, but that makes
it does
no
go
sense.
on fire. It doesn't make any sense.
It's like marble. You can't burn marble. Arnie can.
It's a tower of fire by the time they're leaving. But anyway, the princess is there, and she starts bowing down to him, and he's just walking past her, going, "Give me your hand. Let's go. Jog on. Stop worshipping people. You don't need to worship people.
You're a payday. Come on."
Yeah. It's more of those red diamonds, yo. I think she probably has daddy issues, because her dad's the king, and it's just like, fuck, I don't want to worship my dad. He's an asshole. I want to worship somebody else.
Yeah, the Doom guy. That's a good choice.
Yeah, a petulant teenager just headed off, going, "Yeah, I'll worship Satan, the equivalent of Satan."
Arnie.
Yeah. So then the wizard does the voiceover narration that's going. There's a sort of a image of Conan with a beard sitting on a throne, kind of, and says, "Yeah, his adventures continue, and this story shall also be told." And it is Conan the Destroyer. But I read there were supposed to be 4 movies, but obviously Arnie got a bit popular. He got a bit popular. So like 2 years after Conan the Barbarian, he was into Terminator, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, like this movie got him noticed, and Terminator got him huge.
Yeah, so this is 82. 84 is Terminator. 84 is also Conan the Destroyer. 85 is Red Sonja. Then 85, Commando. Then Raw Deal, Running Man, Predator, Red Heat, Twins. All of these in Metascore are 40s and 50s, but...
Get out of town. Predator, 40s and 50s.
Predator is 47, but let me look at the user score. What do you think the user score will be?
I'm going to give it I would throw that as a 90. I think that's one of the
it's an 8.7.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, so like, obviously, I think the critic reviews are taken from the day of the years that it was released. So I think the cultness of things obviously grows with time, and the ratings go up. It's the same with this. Same with this one.
Movies like this, if you look at them solely on their artistic value, I think it diminishes the movie itself. You're missing something by doing that. It's like looking at Lethal Weapon for its artistic, creation. That's really it's more about entertainment. It's more about the rollicking good ride of adventure and lopping people's heads off and crap like that. It's
like, it's not my favorite.
I think critics sometimes miss some of these things.
Yeah, and also I guess maybe back in the day when Arnie came out, there was a little bit of a hurdle to get across to him as a lead actor.
Ow. Yeah, I can see that being an issue. Honestly.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's just what he's faced all his career, basically. But he's a good guy. He comes across well in like interviews and stuff and interacting with fans. He's very much
He seems like a lovely guy, actually, quite smart too.
yeah. He's got like donkeys in his house that roam around his house.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, smoking cigars, and he still just pumps iron at whatever. He's 78 or something. I don't know what he's up in his 70s.
Yeah, he's held together well.
Yeah. All right. So plot, acting, soundtrack, production. I was coming to the end of this movie last night when I was watching it, and I was like going, you know what, this is like solid 3 out of 5 movie for everything. But I changed production to 3.5 as we were speaking because I just sort of think, yeah, for the year that it was in, and how good it looks, I think it's above 3. It's a 3.5. So plot, acting, and soundtrack track, I gave everything 3 because it's a good movie. And 3, I think, equates to good. I think 4 is very good, 5 is excellent, 2.5 average, 2 bad, 1 very bad, and 0 Hermia and Helena.
See, I may have marked it down a little bit more. Production, I give 3.5. I think the production in this, great. Fantastic job. Well done, everybody. Music, again, 3.
Yeah.
It's good. It hits the mark really well.
Yeah, it's good.
Acting, I only give 2.5.
That's fine.
Mostly because Arnie doesn't do a lot of it.
True.
And the supporting cast doesn't do a lot of acting. There's a bit of acting from James and from Max, but that's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But still, 2.5, middle of the road for a movie with no acting is pretty good in my head.
Yeah.
And plot, I give 2.5. I'm probably a bit underselling it there because at the time this wasn't exactly groundbreaking, but it wasn't, run of the mill either.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm a bit disingenuous towards it. I don't know.
No, you can. If you look at it, right, it's your generic adventure. There's a missing princess. Your princess is in another castle type thing. All that sort of stuff.
Well, the thing is that was not a generic concept back in the early 80s, late 70s. It's now generic.
It's now generic, yeah, but it's the same. Go rescue something. I'll give you this. Go get this. It's a
yeah, but he doesn't bother with that. Like the rescue the princess is irrelevant. It's true. I'm really annoyed that somebody killed my parents, but it's not even just that. A lot of the movie is just him bouncing from situation to situation with a basic concept of revenge somewhere in the middle of it.
Yeah, and that's why I liked it. It doesn't go crazy deep into any sort of plot area, but it gives me enough to go, yeah, I care about these characters. I think Arnie and Conan as a character that I was vouching for and I wanted to win.
Yeah. And I think the plot kind of suits his two-dimensional nature as a character. It doesn't have to be too complex. He's got very simple motivations in this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. I was pleasantly surprised at enjoying it as I did. I was expecting Krull where I was going from the start. Jesus, it's like shit. Which sort of affected my perception of Krull when I watched it then. And then they just didn't get the exposition of the characters correct.
Krull had the opposite problem, in my opinion, when it comes to acting. They hammed it up massively.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's quite like Arnie's understated acting. He's just using his muscles to do a lot of it, and he doesn't speak all that often. Whereas in Krull, it's just too like the comedic parts of it are over the top.
Nah, it just doesn't work. I think they get a lot of things wrong in Krull that just comes together to be underwhelming.
Yep.
Richard Schickel in Time gave it 10 out of 100. He said, Conan is a sort of psychotic Star Wars, stupid and stupefying. He didn't get it back in the day, did Richard.
But he's right, though.
Yeah, it is a stupid Star Wars.
It is a psychotic, stupid, this is really violent Star Wars. And that's the point.
Yeah. Empire gave it 80. I'm guessing this was a sort of a retro review. It's easy to criticize Conan, cheesy, dated, and ever so slightly fascist, which he explains now in bracket. Conan is the ultimate Aryan, punishing the weak and defending the strong while looking great in thigh-high boots. That's terribly wrong. He's not punishing the weak. He's fighting for revenge of his parents. There's nothing fascist about anything. Doom is fascist.
Yeah, Doom's a fascist.
What the hell are they talking about?
But Conan's just a very simple reactionary individual. That's it.
He doesn't have fascist beliefs. He doesn't have a edict to spread amongst people and to control them. Let's do him all the way. I don't know what they're getting at here, and I wonder what year they wrote this in. He finished up while all that's true for Arnie fans. This film still rocks. But
yes, fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's throw this movie into the snake pit and be done with it. I would guess. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, so that Basil Polidorus wrote the soundtrack. He's done a lot of work in Hollywood, and just wanted to mention him. His music throughout the thing. I think he did a lot of technical things with his instruments in this, which slowed the tempo down for certain things and increased the tempo for certain scenes. And he was the first person to use that sort of tool. Anyway, I read that in this vague memory that I read, but people wanted to look that up. That's an interesting sort of tidbit of information.
Basil.
You're all right. Let's roll the dice and see what movie we get for next episode 64. And it's random number 4226.
Oh, it's not bad.
And movie 4226 is quite similar along the theme. It's Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves from 2023.
Oh, the one that just come out. Okay, yeah. I've seen this actually.
Oh, you've seen this? Oops.
Big nerd. It's not bad. It's actually very similar in some respects.
I imagine so.
Yeah, God. It's got what's his name?
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine, but the guy from Four Weddings.
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant's great in this.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Hugh Grant, but
I hated Hugh Grant until the last couple of years, and he's done a few things where he doesn't take himself serious anymore.
Did you watch Unfrosted?
I have not seen Unfrosted.
It's not good.
Is it not?
No. And I'm a massive Seinfeld fan. It's just not. It's just so weird. Anyway, the summary for this is: a charming thief and the band of unlikely adventurers undertake an epic heist to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves brings the rich world and playful spirit of a legendary role-playing game to the big screen in a hilarious and action-packed adventure. I heard it's very funny in places.
Yeah, it doesn't take itself particularly seriously, and I think that's the appropriate level for this movie. Chris Pine's always kind of, he's energetic, he's funny, he's cheeky chappy.
Well, there's two directors, Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly, that wrote Spider-Man Homecoming, so it's not bad.
That's a good movie, Homecoming. It's a quite accomplished movie.
Yeah. The other, Goldstein wrote a lot of other stuff. Horrible Bosses, The Flash.
Oof.
Yeah. Other bad stuff. But anyway, yeah, so that's I look forward to it because I did mean to watch it, but sadly you're gonna have to watch it again if that's a chore for you. Tough shit.
Not a chore at all. I enjoyed it the first time. It ain't gonna tax your brain.
That's good to know. But very similar. We've got this Conan the Barbarian, and we've got another similarly themed movie, but maybe a little bit more modern. Less snakes on the plane.
Yeah.
All right, great. So that'll be episode 64. Please share and like our podcast and pass it around your friends if you must. Our email address is in the description of this very podcast, so contact us with your top 10 movies if you haven't done so already, because we will always
or any complaints you'd like to make. Go to the email address as well.
Don't say that. But yeah, no, we definitely want to start compiling a big list of top 10 movies from listeners so we can dip into them. We've already dipped into a couple, but the more the merrier, and we can dip out of the Metacritic's list from time to time. Okay, we'll see you in episode 64. Bye-bye.
Cheerio.